What is good, yo, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Invincible Guardians of the Globe video. This is going to be part 2 of the skills breakdown. So we're going to hop into that. We're going to be going over Earth Defenders today. Last video we went over, I believe we went over GDA. Yeah. So we're going to go over Earth Defenders today. And I just want to say that the added skills to characters are obviously, even if any of them are really good, they are obviously extremely end game. So, like, if you're a person that you're a free to play player or anything like that, it's not to discourage you or disclude you, but the likelihood of you getting to level 15 skills is a lot lower. So you have to take all of this information with a grain of salt. This is more for level 15 skills is more for long-term players and whales, if we're being honest. Unless you are smart and save up the amount of elixir you can for a specific skill for a specific character. If you do it that way, then maybe you could do it, even if you're a, casual player or a newer player. But it's going to be extremely hard because you have to already at least have the skill at level 10. Because to get it from level 1 all the way to level 15, you're looking at, I think it's about, you're looking at about like 4,000 blue elixir and about almost 1,000 pink elixir. I think you're looking at like 600 and something pink elixir. So it's a lot. It's a lot of elixir. It's not like, oh, I could just accumulate that in a few days. Like, it's a long investment. So when I tell you that a skill is worth it, best believe when I'm telling you it is worth it. If I'm telling you that it's not worth it, but it's good, it means that if you were to be someone that was a top high-end player, that you had so many elixirs laying around, then it could be worth building up. It could be worth using, but it's not. When it comes to these level 15 skills, a lot of them have to be dramatically worth it. Like, I'm talking about dramatically worth it, because if it's just semi better, it's not worth it in the end. In all honesty, it's not. It needs to be either dramatically good, or you get multiple new abilities on top of what exists, in my opinion. But with that being said, let's hop into this. We're gonna go over the blues like we always do first. But okay, this is Martian Man. Martian Man skill kits. So Martian Man's default ability, he enlarges his hand and performs an attack that deals 380 base damage. Disables all benefit effects. I didn't know it did that. That's interesting. So I'm guessing it removes all effects off of opponent that he hits with it. I never knew it actually did that. So at level 5 is where you get the first difference. In addition, it reduces the enemy's critical chance by 25% for 5 seconds. And then if you take it to 10, it'll be 50%. Now, from 10 to 11, it adds a new ability to it and increases the 6 seconds, and increases the timer to 6 seconds. It increases their healing received by 22%. Now, see, once again, that's what I'm talking about. 200 basically pink. So 1,150 blue elixir plus 200 pink elixir. Like, that's what you have to invest to get a skill from level 11 to 15. It's a lot. It's a big investment. When Martian Man uses his hand uses his hand to hit him. Hand it to me. I think that's this ability. Hand it to me. Ability against an enemy. He increases the enemy's ability. Increases the enemy's ability cooldown by 5%. I think they mean decrease. Because reading that, it's saying that when he punches them, he's increasing them getting their ability, which I don't believe is right. I think that means decrease. And nothing changes even if you get it to level 10. Getting it to level 11 will now add a new ability to it. Enemy's ability. Speed would 50. Reducing their defense also. So it also would reduce their defense. And once again, this is something that could be kind of good, but if I'm being honest, not worth it. This is his ability when he sinks into the ground. When Martian Man reaches 5% HP, he melts to the floor and becomes invisible, focusing enemies targeting for 3 seconds and heals 10% of his max HP. He screams while emerging from the ground, which increases the team's defense by 5% for 3 seconds. The ability has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So this is probably his, his Allen ability. You know how Allen has his heal ability? This is his version of that type of thing, kind of. Oh, the scream will now do damage. Okay. So now the scream will do damage of 150%. And then if you take it all the way to 15, it'll do 250% damage. So, what I will say about Martian Man is, once again, I don't think you should be using him. And if you were, for whatever reasoning, if you were using him for whatever reasoning, I wouldn't really want to boost any of these skills. And the reasoning why I would say that is this. Martian Man's ability targets one person. So, yes, like I said, the other ability that removes the healing and stuff like that, yes, it's good. Removing healing off of anyone is good. But the fact that both of his abilities tie into that one ability, and he doesn't have many abilities, being that he only has 3, it kind of makes it that the second ability is kind of useless already, because the person that he's hitting with that ability is going to just basically die, but then you have to wait for him to get his ability again for him to make an impact, if that makes any sense. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, because it's not an AoE, it honestly does hurt him. Now, we're going to hop into Darkwing 2. Excuse me. Holy crap, I can't stop yawning. I'm not even tired. Darkwing 2, Darkwing 1 actually, I'm tweaking. Original Darkwing. Now, original Darkwing I think is actually pretty good. And we're going to go over this kit, and I'm actually interested to see this. Darkwing will throw handful of shurikens, dealing 350% damage and decreasing the target's attack by 15% for 4 seconds. That's pretty long and pretty good already. Pause. If you crank this up, I think it's just the numbers go up, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a long time period. Even at level 10, it's only at 400 base attack damage, which sounds crazy to say only, but with some of these abilities in the game, it is a low amount. But to decrease a area of people, and you're decreasing their attack power by 40%. That's an actual pretty big decretion of attack power. And then for 10, then becomes invisible for 3 seconds. The invisible for 3 seconds doesn't change. So this will be one that I would say, if you're using a Darkwing, it's definitely worth it to boost that ability by that 1 point. I wouldn't take it to 15, but I will definitely take it to 11. Now this is another one of his better moves. When an enemy kills a human ally, Darkwing stuns them after they perform that kill for 1 second. If you crank this up, I believe all the way to level 10. No, is it 5? It's level 7. If you crank it up to level 7, it's a 3-second stun, which is good. Then level 8 goes to a 3.3. Level 6 goes to a 3.9. And then no, 3.6. And then level 10 is a 4-second. At this point, a 4-second stun is extremely good. And the fact that he's triggering that off of every single human death, I know some interesting teams you can do with this. Let's just say this ability is good as it is. So I'm excited to see what changes. Now, it goes up by 0.1 seconds. Additionally, if there's an original Guardian of the Globe ally, he reduces enemy's critical chance by 20%. I would have more preferred he reduces attack. I would have preferred he reduces defense, but okay. And so in this situation, I would say it's probably not worth it. I would say it's honestly probably not worth it to boost it to 11 or 15. But if you are going to boost it to 11. Like I said, get the extra benefits, but don't fully commit. Darkwing performs a critical hit. His next basic attack deals damage to the intended target and 25% to a second target. And then this will go up and up and up and up. Let's say we take it to 7, 8, 9, 10. So it just goes 205. So basically what this ability does is when he gets a crit on one person, let's say the crit prots for 14,000 damage, right? The crit prots for 14,000 damage. He's gonna throw another one quick to another person, and they're gonna get the same amount done to them. Whatever his crit, well, no, actually they'll get double. So the person that gets hit second is gonna get hit with a bigger impact, basically. If you crank it up to level 10. At level 1, they basically get like a percentage of what the crit was. And then at level 11, the ability that gets introduced is, in addition, both receive wounds equal to 175% of his attack damage in total over time. Ooh, so he applies wound effects, meaning he plays good with the Lizard League new members and with Battle Beast. Interesting. And Thula, in a way. That's interesting. It's interesting. And the time goes up to 10 seconds? Or it starts at 10 seconds to wound. That's interesting. Overall, I would say Darkwing 2 is one of the better blue heroes out there, so I'm not surprised. And I would say his first skill and second skill is worth boosting to level 11. Let's get to Kid Omni-Man, other known as Oliver. Now, in my opinion, I'm gonna just say right now, I think Oliver is heavily in need of a rework. His kit is horrible. I understand he's a blue character, so nobody's gonna really care to use him. But so many people loved Oliver and wanted Oliver when he first came out, and I remember so many people wanted him. And then when after he came out, like the same following week after that, everybody was like, "Bro, we fiend for this for no reason because he's horrible." Oliver is really bad. Omni-Man, Omni-Kid dashes towards the enemy with the least defense and feels huh? Flies through them, dealing a grand critical hit of 200% of his base attack stats. And then it's just gonna crank up. Level 4, he also will increase his own critical chance by 9% for 7 seconds. And then once again, it's gonna just creep up. And then you get it to level 10. It's a it's a it's only a 50% jump, which is why it's really bad. And then only a 15% critical boost for 7 seconds. It's a really bad skill upgrade, in my opinion. So I'm interested in see how it scales up. Are you telling me they didn't even give him an extra ability? Yeah, not worth it at all. Don't even build that skill. When fighting alongside heroes from the last line of defense, Kid Omni-Man increases the team's healing received by 5%. And this is another reason why I feel like they need to do a better job when they do these descriptions at actually giving accurate statements in their descriptions, because this doesn't actually give 5% extra healing. It doesn't. A lot of people think that it does. It does not. It gives half a percent of extra healing. So with that being said, it's a really bad skill. And then it scales up even worse. And there's not many malefactors that you're going to go against. So with that being said, it honestly isn't the best skill in the game. So in my honest opinion, the skill also, as of right now, isn't worth building. But let's see if they changed it. No, they just added more stats on top of it. Yeah, once again, not worth building it at all. Wouldn't even touch the skill. After every critical hit performed, Kid Omni-Man increases his critical chance by 3% from the whole of the for the whole of the battle, and has 60% critical chance of charge in his what? And has a 60% chance of charging his target randomly. This can stack up to 6 times. I'm a little confused on how that works, but I believe, if I remember correctly from testing it, I believe what they're talking about stacks up to 6 times is the 60 percent chance of him dashing towards the enemy. I don't think they're talking about the 3% after every critical strike. Yeah. But it goes up a good amount. This is definitely his best ability. Huh? He has a chance of changing his target randomly. So I don't understand. So it's not even. Yeah, I don't know. It's out. It's basically getting rid of his chance of changing targets, which I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, if I'm being honest. So I'm not really sure how to take that. I would personally just say don't use him. That simple as that. Darkwing 2. Darkwing 2, to bring an enemy into the Shadowverse with him for 3 seconds. When they come out, the enemy receives 250% damage and is silenced for 3 seconds. And then if you take this to 5, it goes up to 4 seconds that heals them in the Shadowverse, and the damage goes up to 30, 310, and then it also goes up to 5. And if you go to level 10, it's 5 seconds that they are silenced, 5 seconds that they're kept in the Shadowverse. When they come out, they take 400% damage, and their energy defense is also reduced by 20% for 5 seconds. So it's much better at level 10, and in my honest opinion, it's only better at 10 than 1. So in my opinion, I would say it's either 10 or 1. It's 10 or nothing, honestly, for this skill. But I want to see, are they just going to scale it? I hate when they do just the scaling it thing. It's such a lazy thing to do. Yeah, it's so... I don't like that. It's so lazy. It's definitely not worth it to go to 15. If you're going to use Darkwing 2 for whatever reason you decide to do that, his first ability is either 10 or nothing. So yeah. Second ability is the Malfactor one. I'm going to be honest. I kind of want to just skip the skill because the skill overall just sucks. You're not going to go against many Malfactor characters. And I'll just simply give you an example because, once again, like I said, you have to think about, other than GDA missions, you have to think about the reasoning of using the character. If you're using it for GDA missions, then by all means, I won't say anything other than that. But this is Malfactor. Outside of Doc Seismic, you honestly don't see any of these characters that are here in Arena, and that's what, in my opinion, makes that ability not the best. I'm sorry for the yawning, guys. I really don't know why I'm yawning. I'm honestly not even tired, so I don't know why I'm yawning. Yeah. What it basically does is make their skills power up slower. So you can basically make someone's skill take 20% longer to get back. I'm hoping they gave this a good one. In addition, he increases the attack of his team by 10% when there is a Guardian of the Globe ally on the team. See, that's not bad. But for what it will cost you to get, it's not worth it at all. Every 20 seconds, Darkwing 2 uses the Shadowverse to teleport closer to random enemies. He punches them, dealing a critical hit using 200% attack, reducing the enemy's critical chance by 10% for 3 seconds. No. Okay. And then when you get it to 4, he also will taunt. He gets a taunt for 1 second. And then the more you increase this, the taunt is going to go up. I think by level 10, the taunt goes to 3. So yeah, he basically gets like a pseudo taunt to be like a little annoying, a little nuisance. And then at level 11, it's just another scaling. See, I don't like this. Darkwing 2 is really a bad character And this is how they could have made him more usable, and they did a very lazy job, if I'm being honest. Yeah, and his taunt doesn't even go up. So, from looking at this, I would say don't take it past level 10 if you decided to take it at level 10. It is good at level 10, I will say that. It is pretty good. His first skill and his second and his third skill so far are definitely 10 or nothing. They're definitely take it at 10 or don't boost it. Darkwing 2 emerges from the shadows. He heals for 5% of his max HP. So this is basically his own way to heal himself. This is honestly his most important ability, though. You definitely want to get this one to 10 if you are using a Darkwing. 100% want to get this to 10 if you are using a Darkwing. Otherwise, if you are not using it, do not boost it. If you are not using him, and you shouldn't be using him, honestly, do not boost this skill. But if you are using him for whatever reason, this is his most important skill. And the reasoning is it's the way he stays alive. Healing 15% every time he exits the Shadowverse, I believe, or it's every time he... I believe it's every time he exits the Shadowverse, he heals. I believe that's how it is. And when he exits, he receives a shield of 15% of his max health for 7 seconds. So, for pretty much half the time you're waiting to go back into the Shadowverse, he will have the shield up. So, it's pretty good. And I'm just going to guess here that they scale it up again. And it just goes up by 3%. It's not worth it at all. It goes up by 3% and 1% for seconds. Yeah, it's not worth it. So I would say if you're, for whatever reason, if you are using a Darkwing 2, you want to go 10, 1, 10, 10, or 1, 1, 10, 1, 10, 10. Or you can, like I said, I just wouldn't use him. I don't think he's a good enough hero to use, honestly. And then Aquarius. Aquarius is a blue hero, but Aquarius is actually really good. Aquarius, to me, is probably better than Darkwing 2, Oliver, Martian Man, Green Ghost, and then I would say him and Darkwing 2 are neck and neck. And the reasoning is Aquarius's main ability, which is what I use him for most of the time, is that it removes any positive effect off of the enemy. And it's all enemies on the team, on the field, because it removes one positive effect on all enemies. Immunity shields are considered a positive status effect, which means he can remove immunity shields like Conquest, and he can do it more efficiently because he can remove all immunity shields on all players on the enemy team at one time. The only thing is that he has to do it with his main ability, where Conquest does it as a passive. And then if you were to crank this ability up all the way to level 10, it removes 3 positive effects off of all the enemies you're going against, and it will deal 225% damage, which is still good damage. You're mostly doing it for the effects, but it's good damage. Now, jump from level 10 to level 11, status effects from the enemy, and in addition, it will decrease their energy resistance by 10%. So reducing their defense, their energy defense by 10%, and then it will go up to 20% for 15. That is a lot to kick out, but it is a whole new skill. You honestly might be better off just going to level 11, because it's a lot to boost all the way to 15 just for 20%, but it definitely would be worth it going to 11. I was kind of hoping that it would remove all effects. I was hoping that that's what would change, but that's not a bad upgrade. Level 11 would be ideal, though, if you're using him. Reduce negative effects from all allies by 3% for every original Guardian of the Globe member on the team. Okay. And then if you take this up to 10, reduce negative effects by 8%. So, in all honesty, he can actually completely, depending on how many original Guardian of the Globe members, you might be able to even counter some negative effects. So, it's not bad. But it wouldn't be a skill I would say even to upgrade. And then this one's also a really good one too. Every 16 seconds, Aquarius uses a bubble to create a shield equal to 50% of his attack power on an ally with the lowest HP. At least for 5 seconds, the bubble will last. Now, if you take this up to level 10, it now goes down by 4 seconds. So now every 12 seconds he will do this, and the bubble gets 10% extra stronger. You would mostly be doing this to lower the time that it takes for him to do these bubbles. And I'm guessing the timer is what's going to keep changing, right? So yeah, if you go all the way to level 15, every 10 seconds, he would give someone 100% shielding of his attack stat, which would be, for me, for example, he would basically be giving my Aquarius, for example, right? My Aquarius, at the stats that he currently has, would basically be giving his allies one of his allies every 10 seconds, a 34,000 shield bubble. That's actually really good and really broken, and might I say, is probably the best level 15 skill up we've seen so far out of the Earth Defenders. That is by far the best one in my opinion, because that, if you build you got to think, my Aquarius is only at level 259, and he has good gear on, but he's only at level 259. You have to think, if you are really actually really using Aquarius and you build him to, let's say, level 600 to level 800, between that range, his attack power would probably be something like my Seance Dog, for example, but he would actually have more attack power than Seance Dog. Probably somebody like, I would say, let's say Red Rush, because he is a healer. So around 51,000, and that's only at level 561. I'm pretty sure his attack power might be even stronger, because he's a range, and usually ranges have a little more higher attack power. But let's just say it goes up to 55,000, right? At level 600. 55,000 shielding every 10 seconds is actually broken, because there's a chance that he can put a shield on somebody, and they won't even lose that shield in the time it will take him to put another shield on someone else. And combining that alongside someone that's a constant shield giver like Adam Eve could be devious, or someone like Robot that's constantly boosting someone's health. So I think he's actually really good. And if I'm being honest, if you are using him for whatever reasoning, even though I do think he's really good, so if you're using him, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you are using him, that ability right there just turned him from I think I had him in C tier. That just turned him from a C tier character up to a B tier, in my opinion. Like, legitimately, that brought him to a B tier, in my opinion. That's how good that skill upgrade is. Alright, so let's hop in to now Agent Spider. What should we do? We didn't do Green Ghost yet, right? Let's go on Green Ghost, yeah. So, for Green Ghost, Green Ghost flies faster through the battle, passing through the two enemies with the most buffs, and deals 150 damage with a 25% life leech, my bad. She stuns the enemy for 1 second. While using this ability, she becomes invisible and immune, and they and then returns back to the battlefield. If you get it to level 3, okay, at level 3 skill, she will steal one of these buffs from the people that from the enemy she flies through. And I guess she keeps it for herself. It doesn't say anything about passing it on, so I'm guessing she keeps it. And then at level 6, she'll now steal 2 abilities. And the stun will go from a 2.5 to a 3-second stun. Now here she steals, at level 9 she steals 3 buffs. And at level 10 she steals all their buffs. And she gives them a 4-second stun. That's really good. It's really, really good. Okay, so now what this does with the new skill upgrades, excuse me, what this does for the new upgrades is basically when she comes out of using this ability, she's going to stay invisible for 3 seconds. Basically what this is adding. And the more you upgrade it, I'm guessing the longer she stays invisible. So yeah, if you boost it to level 15, she'll be invisible when she comes out of that ability for 5 seconds, which is pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. I would honestly say this is a good ability. Is it better than the Aquarius one? Yeah, I would say yeah, it is. She is probably overall better than Aquarius as a support. Aquarius is better in the sense of going against certain people. So like if you're constantly going against Immortals, let's say Immortals, what's his name? General Krieg's, Red Rushes, Adam Eves, people like that you can remove their buffs and their shields. It's pretty good to have him. But at the same time, she can straight up just steal them. So, and I would have to test it, but I don't have her built, as you know. As you see, I don't have her skills built. I would have to test it, which is why I keep saying I need them to add a testing place. But you would basically be able to see, does she steal them for herself? Or does she steal them and give them to her team? Or does she steal them and just like basically removes them off of the enemy? That's something I would want to know. For anybody that have her skill boosted, let me know. This skill is useless. I can tell you that right now. Green Ghost increases the max HP by 1% for each member of the original Guardians of the Globe on her team. Like, when you hear that, it sounds good. But just think about the fact that, like, if you take this all the way to 10, she increases her own max HP by 7%. Right? 7% of her max HP, for example, for mine right now is 97,000. What's 7% of 97,000? 7% of 97,000. It's 679. That's not worth it. It's not. It's not worth it. And now let's see if the new skills make it worth it. At the beginning of the wave, If there is a Viltrumite enemy on the opposite team, she becomes invisible for 3 seconds. See, now that is good. That's a good ability. And you can get it to go up to 5 seconds. That's a good ability. It's a very good ability. Is it worth it? No. And I'm going to tell you right now why it's not worth it. Because you have to build up this absolute dog piss ability here just to get that other good ability, which makes it not worth it. It's not worth it. It's a really good ability that they added to her. I wish it would have been vice versa. The other ability is useless. Green Ghost teleports next to an ally with HP below 30%. And marks them for invisibility for 3 seconds. In addition, she applies a 5% of her own max HP as healing over time for 3 seconds. The ability has a 45% cooldown. Yeah, see, this is why I'm saying this. This is why this ability sucks. This is why she's one of the worst healers in the game. This is legitimately why. Because it's based off of her max HP, 5% of her max HP, we just went over this, isn't a lot. So my ally's only healing for 3 seconds less than 2,000 extra health. They're only healing less than 2,000 health back. And when you compare that to other healers right now, like a robot, a shapesmith, a Cecil, a Seance Dog, Adam Eve, a Red Rush even, that gives an immunity shield that is basically the same thing at that point. Her healing sucks. The healing that she provides sucks. And that's what makes her one of the worst heroes in the game. But let's just say you took this all the way to 10, right? It goes up from 5% to... Excuse me. It goes up from 5% to 15%, which does make it slightly better, but it's still, once again, not good enough. At 15%, how much are we looking at? I'll tell you the exact number right now for people that are interested. You're looking at 1,500 healing, basically, if you round it up. So 1,500 healing, like I said, less than 2,000. 1,500 healing. 1,500 healing. Over a 6 second time. So now, if they're getting 1,500 healing every second for 6 seconds, that's not bad. But I don't believe that's how it's working. I believe what it's going to do is it's going to take that 1,500 healing and it's going to divide it into 6 seconds. That's what I believe it's going to do. I could be wrong. Once again, this is why we need testing in the game. I could be wrong, but I believe that's how it's going to work. When Green Ghost HP is below 20%, she becomes invisible for 3 seconds, boosting her ability, her main ability charge by 25%. This cooldown has 20 seconds. This is just to basically juice her own ability to get her main ability back quicker. You can get it to a 60% charge. It's not bad. From level 10 to level 11, heals. Oh, this now makes it that she heals herself. Heals herself for 10% of her max HP. This her max HP thing is killing me. 10% of her max HP. And it changes the when she reaches 25, below 25. Okay. And then this is increasing it. So at level 15, when she drops it to 30%, she'll go invisible for 7 seconds. And then she'll boost her own ability for 65. And then heals herself for 15%. It's not bad. Once again, it's good. It's just that it's not much healing that's actually going to happen. I would honestly say Green Ghost is worse than Aquarius. Legitimately, I would say she's worse than Aquarius. The only thing you would use her for is to be annoying. So like in Alliance War, she's pretty good because she will make your team stay alive longer by constantly making them go invisible, and then by her going invisible so much, she'll make the team annoying. Outside of that, she's not a good healer. So with that being said, let's hop into the next hero. We got Agent Spider. Agent Spider, as you see here, I do have some of his abilities boosted up. I can't go to his level 1, but I can read you what I have. So, Agent Spider at the start of every battle will basically have a spider web. He can web them and pull them into him. And when they get pulled, and this is at the start of every battle, he'll have it immediately. He'll be able to pull them in. It's a 2.5 second stun. Well, 2.2 second stun, actually. And the web deals a little bit of damage, but it's really the uppercut he does when he webs them in that does the damage. It's not a lot of damage. It's really just more so to the good thing about this ability is that if you're going against a Universa, he's usually going to pull the Universa towards him and punch her, and then the people around her are going to jump her. So you're able to get the other team's strong fighter out pretty early. Because it does it say here? Towards the farthest enemy. So yeah, farthest enemy is usually the people in the back, and usually people in the back are like Anissas and Universes. So yeah. Now, if you were to take this ability to level 10, okay, that's not that. If you take this ability to level 10, the stun becomes 3.2 seconds, so it goes up by 1 per second, and the damage dealt goes up to 200%. So it's not really that worth it, in all honesty. It's really not. But let's see if it becomes more worth it. And off of that right there, no, it does not. It does not become more worth it. Okay, so yeah, I would say once again, sweet spot for that ability is still 4. Don't even go past 4. If there is an last line of defense on his team, the team's critical chance is increased by 11%, and the critical damage is increased by 8%. And then this just keeps scaling till you get 20. And then if you get to level 10, it's 20 in each category. And then I assume the laziness make it just scale up 5%. Awesome. Yeah, no, not worth it. Definitely not worth it. If you use Agent Spider, he's not a bad character. He's a really good character. He does do a lot of damage. I would say get the skill to level 10, and that's it. Do not try to go higher than 10. It's not worth it. It is a waste of your elixir. Level 10 is the best. Level 10 is where you would want it at endgame. The best for value is level 5, I would say. Yeah, level 5 is probably the best for equality of it. Level 6 is also not bad, but as you see, for me, I have it level 4. Because he's not a main member of my team, he's like a third stringer team. Whenever an enemy gets stunned, he fires 2 webs at them, dealing 65% of his base attack damage. His critical damage receives a 18% boost for 3.2 seconds. The cooldown is 2 seconds. So this is actually really good because his webbing just keeps coming to effect. And if you have a team of constant stuns, this can get really crazy. So like I was saying earlier, if you do a team, hear me out. If you do a team with 2 Darkwing 2s, right? An Agent Spider and 2 multipoles, it gets a little crazy. It gets a little crazy, if I'm being honest. Gets a little crazy. But yeah. And then if you take the skill all the way to 10, the damage dealt is 100%, which is crazy. Because it's 2 attacks. So it's basically 200%. and he gets a 30% damage increase on top of the damage increase, critical damage increase he's already having. So it's pretty good. And then every 8 attacks he lands, he will throw a web that deals 130 damage of his critical stats, and the damage will be applied over time. Each web will deal 75% attack damage for 3 seconds. Additionally, he will also push and stun the target for 0.5 seconds. If you take this all the way to level 10, I think that does go up. Yeah, so both of them will be at 150, meaning the damage will be out third, but the 0.5 second stun will not change. And the amount of hits he needs will go down from 8 to 7. And I'm guessing it's going to just lazily scale up. Yeah, just lazy scale up. Yeah. So, for this one, I would say once again, end game would be level 10. Sweet point would be maybe level 7. Level 7 would be like the sweet point. That's like the perfect spot. Red Rush. Red Rush is another really good one. Now, as far as it went, Red Rush, second ability was his best one. Red Rush blocks and surrounds his target by running super fast around them, dealing 200% base damage for 2.5 seconds. The target then is silenced for 3 seconds. Yeah, it's not much damage, and it also takes him out the fight for a short period of time. So, I'm not really keen on his ability here. And if we just jump to 10, that's not what I said to do. If we just jump to 10 here, right? The time of how long his ability lasts, his attack lasts, it doesn't change, and the damage only goes up by a little bit, because only 100% more. It's not a big difference when you think about it was already at 200, and for the amount that you're pouring into boosting it. And then 5 seconds of silence, it's good. It is annoying, like it's in something that's annoying for like special arena. For arena in general. But in like waves and stuff like that, this isn't gonna help much. So I don't think it's really that good. And just from based off of this, it looks like it's gonna be lazy scaling again, which it is. So yeah, not good. I wouldn't boost the skill at all. Now this skill right here, Red Rush increases the team's critical damage by 45% when facing an attacker. That's a really good one because there's always going to be an attacker on a team you're going against majority of the time. So this is really good. This is why I have it at level 10. And level 11 will add, in addition, he increases any original Guardian of the Globe allies' physical defense. It's not the best because it's original Guardians only, but it is something. This would be pretty good for someone that's using like Immortal, but that's pretty much it because I wouldn't see any other person from the original Guardians of the Globe that you would use. So I know he does have last line of defense tag, I'm pretty sure. Does he? No, he does not actually. So yeah, because he doesn't have that tag, can't even use him with the Darkwing and Agent Spider combo. So, I don't think that level 11 to 15 is worth it. Once every 15 seconds, Red Rush would swap his position with the furthest enemy, stunning them for 3 seconds and reducing their physical resistance by 90%. This one's really good. This one's really good at just base level. So, honestly, that's kind of why I didn't touch it, because it's just really good at base level. And it doesn't really scale up that much differently. So, all that happens when you get to level 10 is that it would happen at the start of the battle, guaranteed, like instantly. And the timer of the stun goes up by 1 second, and the timer of how long their defense is dropped goes up by 1 second. And I feel like that's not worth it for how much you invest for 10% for to get to level 10. Now we're finally getting an ability. It seems like, decreasing their critical chance by 15% for 7 seconds. On top of that, and if you go all the way to 15, it will increase their critical damage by 40 for 8 seconds. So that is better. It is a better ability, obviously. But once again, I would say it's for how minuscule the level 1 to level 10 is, it's just not worth building. So I would say none of his skills got dramatically better, that it's worth building anything other than what I already have it right there. So for him, I would say it's best to go 1, 10, 1, 1. Now, War Woman was someone I invested a lot into because I thought she was going to be really good. But she was not, sadly. War Woman targets a random enemy, and swings towards them, dealing a 495 of her base attack damage over 3 seconds, and applies a defense reduction of 20% for 5 seconds. You scale this up all the way to 10, it goes up to 950 damage. So it is a massive damage effect, kind of like Cecil's, and it's just to everybody around her because she's swinging her mace. So it is a lot of damage over time, and she does reduce defenses, so it is pretty good. But the problem is that she's so squishy and easy to die. So I'm hoping this changes that. Nope, doesn't. Just lazy scaling again. Yeah, not worth it. It's not worth for the investment it would be to get it to level 15. War Woman increases her team's attack by 3% for each original Guardians of the Globe member, president, and team. I hate these original Guardians of the Globe member things because the original Guardians of the Globe members aren't good in the game. So you really wouldn't be using them. But 10% for each member is really good because if you did have a team that consisted of 4 other members, this would be a 40% boost. And it's just, once again, lazy scaling. Okay. And now from that, it would be 60%. So it jumps up by 20%. So that's, good, but yeah. When War Woman receives a critical hit, she gains 20% lifesteal and a 15% attack damage boost for 4 seconds. When she receives a critical hit. So that means when someone hits her with one. Not if she lands a critical hit. So that plays a factor. When she takes in a critical hit, this will affect. If you go all the way to level 10, it goes up to a 30 lifesteal with a 30% attack damage boost. And then it's lazy scaling again. Yeah. Not worth it. Level 5 I think is best to go to. Obviously going to level 10 is better, but level 5 is worth it for the amount that you have to put in. And then I already have this one at level 10. At the last hit of her War Woman's, that's her main ability, I believe, right? Yeah, her main ability. After the last hit of her main ability will stun all of surrounding enemies for 4 seconds, dealing 210% of base attack damage. In addition, it will remove any immunity effects from the enemy's hit. So this one's good. This is one of the first, outside of Aquarius, this is one of the other first people to have an immunity break. It's one of the first people in the game to have an immunity breaker. And it's really good. Once again, anybody with an immunity breaker is immediately a decent character because there's not many people in the game that have it. And I think it's just lazy scaling again. Yeah, just lazy scaling again. So it is, a 5 second stun is a 5 second stun, but it's still it costs too much for that 1 extra second. It does. It just does. So if I'm being honest, None of her skills got better to the point that you should upgrade it, any of them. I would say her main ability is definitely good, but I don't think it's worth going all the way to 15. If you're gonna take it, I would say take it at 10 if you plan on using her. And if you plan on using her, someone you can use her alongside of that will make her very much better would be like Blue Sumark. Blue Sumark and her work very well together. Blue Sumark, Red Rush, all three of those three work together very well. So yeah. Now let's get to Mr. Seance Dog. Now, before we get into Seance Dog, I do want to say disclaimer. Seance Dog is a big disclaimer character because for most people, you aren't going to be able to even boost his skills from level 10 to 15. You probably won't even be able to get his skills to level 10, to be honest, for most people. So, only the whaliest of whales, and I am not part of that group, will be able to even get these level 15 abilities, but we're going to go over them in the first place. Because you need to get the level 15 abilities. I also don't think I mentioned that you need to be level 1000 on the character, so it's a big investment. Seance Dog creates a area of effect around the ally with the lowest HP for 5 seconds, healing allies inside that radius for up to 20% of his current HP, while also dealing 210% of his base attack damage to enemies and silencing them for 3.5 seconds. This skill is really good. And it says that he only heals them up to 20%, but I believe it's more than that because it feels a lot more than that. And then going from that to that, it goes up by 1%, and the silence goes up by 0.5. Okay, so not bad. And then from level 10 to 11, is it just lazy scaling? It is. Oh my god, guys. The lazy scaling is horrible, bro. It's not worth it. Don't boost it. Even if you have him there, it's just not worth it. When fighting alongside a Not of This Earth character, Seance Dog healing is also also provides a shield equal to 46% of the healing amount for 20 seconds. So this is now what creates the shield bubbles that you see when he heals people. In addition, automatically at the start of a wave, Seance Dog will heal all flying allies for 50% of his defense. So at the start of the battle, he basically gives all flying allies a shield. And then this goes up from... It's a pretty good jump, actually. From 9 to 10 is actually a significant jump, so it's really worth it. From 9 to 10, you're getting 4 extra % on the shield, and you're getting 10% for the allies that fly. So that's really good. And then from level 10 to 11, only 1%, and it's just lazy scaling, it looks like. Yeah, it's just lazy scaling. Not worth it, but I would say for Seance Dog, a healer, you would probably do it just because it's a healer, but I would say it's definitely not worth it. At the start of the battle, Seance Dog forms a spectral bond with an ally who has the highest max HP. 50% of the healing provided by Seance Dog is also applied to the bonded ally. Once per battle, if the bonded ally falls below 10% health, Seance Dog makes them immune to all damage for 3 seconds and increases his healing effects by 12% for 7 seconds. That's really good. And if you take it all the way to 10, 70% of the healing. But does that mean... I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Does that mean that the healing he's doing to the rest of his team is lessened? I'm not sure. I would assume not. Because it's saying that that person's going to take 70% of the heals. So I'm interested in how that works. And when they fall below 10%, they get the immunity shield for 3.5 seconds, which is really good immunity shield. And then he will boost his own healing by 20%, which is really good. That's basically having a second... That's like basically having a second med kit on him. And then from level 10 to 11, seems like it's going to just be lazy scaling, which it is. I'm really tired of the lazy scaling they did. When a debuff is applied to a bonded ally, Theon's dog bounces, becomes invisible for 3.5 seconds, and cast a spell that heals up to 3 different allies from each heal 3 different allies, each for 5.5 of his current HP. Grants them a 30% defense boost for 5 seconds. This cooldown is only a 7-second cooldown. Yo, he is such a busted healer, bro. It's not even funny. And then everything will go up. So from where I have it at level 6, it will go up to a 4-second invisibility. It'll go up by 2 on the amount healed. And the boosted will go up from what I have, 40 right now? 30. It'll go by 20 to 50. And it would last 6 seconds. So it basically lasts as long as it takes for the cooldown to end. That's insane, bro. He's so good. Like, he's so good. Okay. Only gonna boost the defense, it seems like. Yeah, it only really boosts the defense. It's not worth it. It's not worth going to 15. 10 is really good, though. Sam's dog is so disgustingly good. It's outrageous. I understand why they put him behind the wall that they put him behind. He is so good. Now, Blue Suit Mark. Invincible dashes towards the enemy while with the lowest HP, pushing them while delivering a rapid combo of punches that deal 225 of his base attack damage, 19% true damage, ignoring the enemy's defense. Basically, he's going to just rush a target and just start punching the crap out of them, and he's going to do a lot of damage, in other words. And what true damage is damage that ignores your defense. It won't ignore immunity shields. But what it means by ignore your defense is it will ignore your defenses. It doesn't matter about your defensive stats. The amount of damage that you should take, you're going to take. And then it goes, if you get it to level 10, it goes up to 25% true damage. So a 6% increase from where I have it at. And a 100%, 125% damage boost from just additional damage from the base attack damage. Now, it's just lazy scaling, it looks like. So just jump to 15. Yeah, just lazy scaling. It doesn't even impact the true damage, so it's not worth it. 100% not worth going to level 15. Now, this one is a really good skill. As you see, I have it at 10. When fighting alongside at least one other attacker, all melee allies gain 10% life leech and a 12% attack boost for each time Invincible kills an enemy. This can stack up to 7 times, meaning they can get 70% life leech and a 84% attack boost. If an enemy is a invader or a Viltrumite, Invincible gains a extra 5% life leech and 3% attack boost. And I'm guessing this just scales. Yeah, it just scales. Okay. And only the bottom numbers scale. So it'll just be a, if they're, it just goes from that. Yeah, that's really bad. They did really bad with these upgrades. I'm not gonna lie. Not worth it at all. While any type of shield or immunity is active on him, invincible basic attack deals an extra 4% true damage, ignoring enemies' defenses. The granted 6% life leech once per battle. When an ally drops below 15%, he will dash towards the target that dealt that blow and taunt them, becoming immune to all damage for 5.2 seconds. So whoever hurt your teammate to put them low like that, he's gonna run over and be like, "Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me," and like take all the damage for them because he has an immunity shield. And if you take this up to level 10, the immunity shield actually lasts pretty long. Actually, lasting longer than I think Immortal's immunity shield, which is crazy, 6.5. And it also boosts his true damage to a 6% true damage, and he gets an extra 10% life leech. And then at level 11, it's just going to be some lazy scaling, I'm assuming, from what it looks like. And yeah, just lazy scaling. Once again, not really worth it. It's definitely more worth it for this ability than it is for the other two. So if you were to do it for this one, it would be understandable, but it's definitely not worth it. And then this ability here, which is his skull basher. When an enemy's HP drops below 23%, invincible dash rushes to into the I can't speak. He rushes to deliver a series of headbutts, 3 of them to be exact, dealing a 19% of his max HP damage. However, 30% of the damage dealt is also applied to him. Additionally, this will also charge his main skill by 10%. So, that's a lot to unpack there. Basically, when the enemy is low and reaches 23%, he's going to rush at them and just start headbutting them. The 3 headbutts, let's say, deal 100,000 damage, right? It's not going to do that, but let's just say it dealt 100,000 damage. He's going to take 30,000 damage, and they're going to take 70,000 damage. Is basically how it's going to work. Because some of the damage is reflected onto himself because he's using his head. And then it's also going to boost his main skill, which is this skill, by 10% to get it back quicker. If you take it to level 10, it will boost it by 30% to his main skill. And then when a character drops to 25% instead of 23%, the damage he'll be doing will go up to 25 instead of 19. And then the amount of damage he will receive from doing the headbutts, instead of being 30, will go down to 20. So now, instead of taking 30,000 damage, he will take 20,000 damage, and they will take 80. If we did the same 100,000 damage comparison. And then, once again, it's going to be lazy scaling from what it looks like. And, yeah. And this literally only impacts the main skill upgrade and how much damage he will take from the headbutts. Once again, not worth it to go to level 15 for just 5%. So, for the sense of new upgrades, no, they're not better for him. The only one that is somewhat worth it, and it's not worth it, it's just understandable if you did it, will be skill number 3. If you boosted skill number 3 to level 15, it will be understandable, but it's definitely not something I would recommend. OG Invincible. Now, I'm going to be honest, OG Invincible probably has one of the best kits, people keep saying, but I always felt like his skills are so default-based that it's no point to really boost them. So, I have this skill here. This is probably his best skill, because at level 10, I'm going to go to level 10 because at level 4 I have basically level 10. Just I don't get 5 hits, I get 4. He will attack all 5 members at level 10 on the other team. He will attack all 5 enemies and deal 195 damage to them with each hit. And each hit he lands will give him 15% life steal. So he will steal basically 15% life steal from each person hit. Not steal 15% life, but steal 15% of life steal. Life steal steals like a small percentage of their health. And then it's going to be lazy scaling, I assume. Yep. So, yeah. Definitely not worth it to go to level 15, but only thing that would kind of make it worth it, but you get a hit, you get 1 extra hit, meaning you hit 6 times, but once again, in my opinion, that's not worth it. Which is why I left mine at 6, because 125 elixir, 140 elixir, 155 elixir, 170 elixir just to get to level 10. Is it worth it to me? So imagine doing that with even more. You get what I'm saying? Just not worth it. When fighting alongside a last line defense ally, the team abilities cooldowns are reduced by 5%. Once again, this ability is so weak to me that it's not no real point to do this. Even if you boost it to level 10, it's only a 10% difference, which is so minor, you're not going to really notice it. And if you take this all the way up to level 15, it's going to be a 15% boost, which, once again, is so minor, you're not going to notice it. So, in my opinion, it's not worth it with the level new 15 skill. This one is interesting. Invincible, when he reaches 20%, his Viltrumite powers are triggered, and he becomes immune to damage for 5.8 seconds. This also increases his energy attack by 5% for 6 seconds. This ability has a 28 second cooldown. Now, if you was to take this all the way to level 10, the numbers will jump up to 7 seconds with a 25% attack power increase, energy attack power increase. It's decent. Taking it to level 10 is understandable for the extra second of immunity. I know some people would do it for that 1 second extra of invincibility, but to me, I feel like it's just not worth it. The 25 energy attack percent, though, is worth it for some people. And I'm assuming it's going to be lazy scaling. But it's lazy scaling in a good department. 25 extra percent could be worth it for extra damage. Give me 1 second. 25% extra damage would be really good. Give me 1 second. 25% extra damage would be really good, if I'm being honest. But I just don't think it's worth it for the amount it will cost you to get from level 10 to 15. I'm going to keep saying, I sound like a broken record at this point. You can get, like, to get this skill from level 10 to level 15, you can probably get someone else that you use, get one of their skills higher up, or get a new character that you know that you just started working on, get one of their skills that are more important leveled up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's maximizing your value. So, in my opinion, it's not worth it. And then this triggers at the beginning of wave, invincible, triggers at the beginning of the wave, once every 25 seconds, invincible, increases his attack by 5% for 5 seconds, and attacks the enemy with the highest attack power. This is why, when at the start of battles, most of the time, Invincible will go after a Universa or an Anissa. He would usually go after those type of people. And usually if people have like a Conquest on the team and know a Universa, he will actually go after the tank, which actually hurts him in a way. A lot of people do like to boost this one. At level 10, it will increase his attack power by 10%, and it would make it that the attack power will last for 7 seconds. It's not a significant jump at all. You're talking about a 2%. You're talking about a 2-second increase and a 5% jump, and only a 5 second um cooldown reduction. So it's just not worth it, in my opinion. It's not worth it at all to even boost the skill. And it's gonna be lazy scaling, I had to guess. Yeah, lazy scaling. So it's gonna make it even more not worth it. Yeah, just not worth it. So once again, in my opinion, it's probably not worth boosting his skills, even with the new upgrades of the skills. All right, let's hop into the last two characters. We got Omni-Man. Creates an energy wave that breaks the floor, dealing damage to its target. All enemies hit will take a 170 damage of his base attack stat. Applies a 8% deficit hit all enemies. Okay. Defense hit. Okay. So it's basically a similar thing, just the power scaling goes up by a little bit. Power scaling goes up by 30, and then the percentage goes up by 5. Not the best, but okay. And then from 10 to 11, the time goes up, and the defense scaling thing goes up. Yeah, definitely not worth it. No. Now this one is really bad as well, but I've heard some people say it's really good. When fighting against humans, he will gain 1 lifesteal for each percent, basically. So when you get it to 10, it's 10%. Now, level 11 now makes him fight good against other Viltrumites, I think. So when he's battling against other Viltrumites now, he will increase his own crit chance by 10% when fighting against other Viltrumites. That alone, right there, I would say is dramatically making Omni-Man a better fighter. So that makes him a dramatically better and more useful fighter in more variety situations. So if you're talking about boosting it from 10 to 11 just to get the extra new effects, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it for that. See, this is good scaling of a new ability. So I would say, yes, this is worth to take to 15. This does make him worth to take to 15 if you are using Omni-Man. This does make him worth it. This does make it worth. Definitely does. After performing 4 critical hits, the critical chance for the next hit is 100%, and will deal 190% critical damage. In addition, it also will charge his main ability by 5%. This is always active. And then, after performing 3, so it drops the amount, and then raises the damage by 250 to 250, and then also will give him 15% to his next ability. Okay. And then it's going to be bad scaling, isn't it? You see where they messed up here is they just did bad scaling. If they would have dropped it to after every, like, to get it to 15 is such a big investment. If they would have dropped it to every 2 critical hits landed, then it would have made it like, oh wow, like it would have made it so much better. But nope, they missed out on that good one. Just go to 10. Omni-Man deals 350% damage in 1 hit, triggering a instant kill if the target is less than 20%. If their HP is higher, they will get pushed back after performing this attack. His damage is also increased by 25% for the next 15 seconds. You know what? I would normally say this is bad scaling, which it is, but it's only worth it because it's an instant kill effect. So 25% is 5% more that you don't have to worry about, and 5%, even though it seems like a little bit, 5% when it comes to someone's health is a big difference because someone like Shapesmith can be on this much health and get his ability to trigger and go from this much health back to this health. So it's like if he can just instant kill him and take him out the game, yeah, we wanted to get it as high as possible. So this one I will say is worth it because it's an instant kill effect. That's the only reason it makes it worth it, in my opinion, legitimately. And that will do it for Omni-Man. Now, the most anticipated Earth Defender. And the one I have probably the most built. Adam Eve creates shields equal to 20% of her max HP on 4 allies, not including herself, which means when she also does apply it on herself, which means to everybody, at least for 10 seconds. In addition, it will also remove 3 debuffs that are on the allies. And if we go to level 11, what does it do? Ooh, whole new ability. Awesome. Increases their healing received by 15%. What? Let's go! Adam Eve got a fucking good skill up. I was hoping she got a good skill up. Yes, this is good. This is very good. That is very good skill up. Yes! Mwah, worth it. Oh my god, thank you. Finally. The best one so far today. The best skill up today. Now, her team one was one I never boosted because I didn't have my robot built. But 15% bounce back is actually really good. I just never built it because I didn't use robot with her for too long. So yeah, it's a really good ability. I just didn't use robot, so that's why it was no point to me. It's gonna be just scaling. It's not worth it for scaling, honestly. It's not worth it for scaling, even though that 5% bounce back damage could be something big. It's not worth it. It's not, in my opinion. It's not worth it. No. When an ally receives a shield, the value of the shield increased by 15%. The final hit value cannot exceed 50% of Adam Eve's max HP. In addition, this ally that receives the shield is healed for 9% of Adam Eve's max HP. This ability is always active. And then if you do this, it just scales it up to 10. And then, okay, I was going to say lazy again, but okay, 12 is the sweet thing then. So at 12, their energy attack is also increased, so they get an attack boost. Okay. And for anybody interested, for anybody that doesn't know this, energy attack basically means people that use like abilities. So like robots charges shots, Rex's explosions. Those are considered energy attacks because these aren't physical attacks. So people like Universa, people like Robot, people like Rex, people like Cecil, people like Donald, those are all energy attacks. So people that won't benefit from this would be like Conquest, Nissa, General Krieg, Shapesmith, Mark. They won't benefit from this. Unless you're talking about using their ability. Then that's where they benefit from it. Everybody benefits from it when they use their abilities, using like ultimates. Because an ultimate is considered an energy attack in general. But for the most part, I would say that's really good. I would boost this to level 15. Adam Eve throws 5 objects at random targets. If the projectile hits a enemy, it deals 300% of her max HP as damage. If it hits an ally, it will grant them 25% of her max HP. The ability is triggered once every 25 seconds. Okay, we got another new ability on her. What is it? Okay, so if it hits an enemy target, their defense decreases their energy resistance by 15% for 5 seconds as well as the damage it will do. You know, it's not the best change, but it is decent. Would I take this to 15? Truthfully, no. It's not worth it to me. But it is good. It will be something that's obviously endgame once again. So for someone that has more resources than I do, maybe it's worth it for them. But for me, with the resources I got, it's not worth it. But it's not bad. Two of her abilities are very good. These two abilities here are very good to take to 15. And the other two are both okay, but I wouldn't do it. But that would wrap up all of the Earth Defenders that are currently in the game. And if I had to do a list based off of simply the level 11 to 15 skills and talk about value and all that, I would say Adam Eve is number 1. I would say Seance Dog is number 2. Then I would say Green Ghost. No, then I would say Omni-Man. Then I would say Green Ghost. Then I would say Aquarius. And then I would say War Woman. And then Darkwing 2. Surprisingly. That would be the order, I would say, for the top 6. Of, like, people that their ability actually got better with the new upgrades. If you're talking about, like, characters you use, obviously not that order, but in the sense of what their abilities did, then yeah, I would say that. But yeah, this is part 2. Hope you guys enjoy it. Catch you guys next time. Stay in tune for part 3. Part 3, we'll be going over the World Beyond faction. But catch you guys next time.